Hi, student. This recording is for a self-learning module about gay faces. It goes with the slide gay zero faces. The reason why I call it zero is you need to learn the faces before you can learn effectively about the movement during gait, the muscle contraction, and the forces. This is not very easy to learn or get familiar with. So I release it before we talk about gait, and you can practice at your own pace. Before we start with the gait movement and muscle, etc., you are required to complete an online quiz about the gait faces by November 28th. It is extra credits, not a lot of points, 2 or 3-ish. Uh, I'll have an email follow up when it's open. So the sole purpose is to that you practice and practice so you can get familiar with it. So gait faces is basically about the timing of the gait. It's the temporal variables. In biomechanics 1, when we taught hip, knee, ankle, patella joints, we refer them to their movement postures in the gait, especially stand phase. Today we will introduce more about a single and double stance. I will also introduce the range-holosomical terminology to describe gait faces. Before we start with all the details, I want to clarify a misconception. Students get confused about step and strides. So step is talking about one leg. From leaving the ground to touching the ground. That is one step. Strides involves 2 legs. So it describes the same legs from one event. Here is the contacting the ground. Here's strike. So one leg, one event, and then the other leg move, and the same leg do the same event. So it's the example I gave you is right here strike to right here strike again. In short, one stride is 2 steps and one stride is one gait cycle. So the summary of the basic temporal gait variable. One gait cycle equal one stride is from the same leg, for example, right here strike to right leg doing the same event, right here strike again. When the leg is contacting the ground, it's called stance. When the leg is not contacting the ground in the air, it's called swing. Stance is 60% of gait cycle. Swing is 40% of gait cycle. So stance swing is 100% of a gait cycle. The stand phase can be subdivided into single stance or single support and double stance, double support. That means Sometimes there's only one leg contacting the ground. Sometimes both legs are contacting the ground. Single stance is 40% of gait cycle. Double stance is 20% of the gait cycle. So single and double together is 60% of the gait cycle, which is the same as the total stance phase, 60% of gait cycle. In summary, one stride is one gait cycle. It has one stand phase and one swing phase. One stand phase sometimes is one leg contacting, so it's one single support. The double support is a little bit complex. It actually divided into two parts, so it's two double support phases. We will talk about the details later. So, to I set up a Slido survey, so you can practice and check if you understand the relationship between swing, single support, double support. It's intuitive. So say if right leg is in double support. So when you see double support, that means two legs are touching, right? Touching the floor. So what is leg doing? Okay. So I have a few questions for you, and you can go through that by yourself. Okay. Up to this point. Um, Besides the stance, swing, single stance, double stance, there are even more detailed components of gait. We call it gait phases. In the following slides, I will use picture to describe the gait phases. And phases is a duration. Only the first touch is the specific moment. Other gait phases is from one time to another time. So I will give you a starting picture and the ending picture. Sometimes a gait phase is described as one leg is leaving the ground. And in the video, I may not be able to get the specific picture. So the picture is for illustration purposes, especially for the beginning and ending. You need to be careful with the definition. So why we even started with just looking at the pictures? Eventually, in the real clinic practice or during the final practicum, I will show you a video, gay video. Then I will ask you what's wrong. So that's a lot of things happening during a gait. I want to train you. You want to be able to look at the very specific time, which is the gait phases, to decide if something went wrong. So not everything is equally important. There are several important frames that you need to capture. So basically, you look at the video, but in your head, with your eyes, you are doing boom, 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 boom. You capture a few important timing. I know you did movement analysis before, sit to stand, weightlifting, throwing. Gait just have more details to it. So you need to practice starting from the steel frame and then connect it to a video. I have practice quiz for you. No points assigned Not mandatory, but that's a lot of pictures for you to practice if what face is showing in that picture. I'll let you know when it's open. So there are two systems to describe, to name the gay faces. One is the clinical terminology, another is rancho naming systems. We will be using the rancho naming system. When you describe gait involves two legs. At the same time, two legs are doing different things, so they are at different gait phases. In order to describe clearly, you need to tell me which leg you are talking about. So that is the reference leg. You always give me a reference leg before you talk about gay faces. So in the following slides, I will use right leg as the reference leg. And before we even go into the details, I have a layman's way of describing what is happening during the gait. In this activity, I mainly want you to experience the gait phases before you try to learn the name of the phases and the function. I think if you experience the phases, it's easier for you to remember. First thing, we always want to have a reference leg when we describe gay faces. So you'll say, this is this phase of right leg. I want you to use right side as the reference leg. The second thing is, I want you to have a chair next to you because in some of the gay faces, there will be only one leg supporting your body. You need this extra chair to keep your balance. So in the slide, I give you the sequence using a layman's description. It's contact, transfer, single up, single down, transfer, and sweep. Okay, we are all describing the right side. Okay, so it's easy. It's contact, right side contact, and then transfer. The weight is loading onto right side and unloading from the left side. Then it becomes only one leg standing, so we call it single. And then you support yourself until like your lower leg and upper leg is almost like in line, and your center of mass is the highest. The other leg is in swing and right next to that. Then the single leg down here. After the left side contact, you transfer weight again. But now the weight is loading out to the left side and unloading from the right side, and then you sweep. So now let's do it again. Then I'll give you the name of each gait phases. Contact, transfer, single up, single down, transfer, and sweep. So I encourage at this point you stand up and do this, experience yourself what happened. So now I'm grabbing a few snapshots, uh, the frames of the gait cycle. We still use right leg as the reference, and I'm introducing the clinical terminologies. Uh, it's easy to remember. So the first thing is right, have a heel strike, heel contacting the ground. And then, because the weight is transferred toward right side, right foot becomes flat. And then it's middle of the stance. Then the right heel is off the ground, and then until the right foot is off the ground and then go into the swing phase. So this is the stand phase. Once the right leg go into the stand phase, it starts to accelerate until it's like in the middle of the swing, and then it need to decelerate to prepare contacting again. Swing phase is 40% of the gait cycle. I do not choose the clinical terminology for the reason. So remember that the first event is called heel strike in the clinical terminology, but that is only for mature gait. A young child learning to walk or older person may not have heel strike. And specifically for some abnormal gait, the patient may not use the heel to contact the ground. They may use the toe to contact the ground. So heel strike does not describe what happened. I'm going to show you the video that a child with cerebral palsy was tiptoeing through the entire stem phase. There's no heel strike for this child. You see, it's always the tip, the toes contacting the ground. So I'm using this video to tell you heel strike may not always happen, so I do not choose clinical terminology to describe gait phases. So now, in the range of Los Amigos terminology, I still use right side as reference. We still have stem phase, swing phase. We just call it initial contact. Your leg is contacting the ground, no matter which part it is. Then the weight is transferred to the contacting one. So it's called loading. And then in the middle of the stance phase, mid stance. So mid stance started with the left side lifting the ground. So lifting, and then the left side starts to swing. Terminal stance is it ends when the left side contacts the ground. Okay, so I didn't get the picture. I just wanted that you know right after left side contact, the right side terminal stance ends. And then this part is called pre-swing. That means the right leg is about to swing, but it's still contacting the ground. Students get confused about this a lot. Pre-swing is in the stance phase before because it's before swing. Okay? And for the early phase, it's just called early swing, mid swing, and late swing. So now we combine the layman's language into the Rancho Los Amigos term. Layman's language, I put it in blue. Rancho Los Amigos, I put it in red. We are still using the right side as the reference leg. So initial contact, loading response, mid stance, terminal stance, pre-swing is the Rancho Los Amigos term. So let's focus on what I'm doing, and then I describe the gait phases. So now let's do it again. Then I'll give you the name of each gait phases. Contact, transfer, single up, single down, transfer, and swing. Okay, so that is what happened. Now we're going to add a name. For right side, this is initial contact, loading response, Remember we talked about is loading, transfer the weight onto it. Mid stance, terminal stance, free swing. Okay, this one is a little bit, some students didn't get it easily. So this right leg is about to swing, right? It's prepared to unload, but it's also before the swing, so we call it pre-swing. And don't get confused. It's a PRE, pre-swing. So if swing has not happened yet, it's still in the stand phase. So pre-swing is the last phase of the right your reference leg. Then you will swing. So now we're going to do the movement with the name of each gait phases of right side. The initial contact loading response mid stance, terminal swing, please swing, and then swing. Okay, that's it. So please practice. Thank you. If swing has not happened. So what is easily confused by student is if right side is loading, look at that. When right side after contact and then you load on to right side, when right side is loading, left side is prepared to swing. Okay, so right loading equal left pre-swing. So same thing. If left side is loading, right side is pre-swing. And you swing. This is just a comparison of the clinical and uh, range of Losamago terminology. Here, strike change to initial contact, foot flat change to loading response. Heel off is terminal stance, toe off is pre-swing. And then a swing is just change from acceleration to deceleration to early, mid, and late. I'm going through the details of each phases. Right leg is the reference leg. For right side, initial contact is when right foot is contacting the floor. The typical normal pattern is by heel strike, but not everyone would do that. Then after the initial contact, the load is loading onto right side. So it's called loading response for right side. So the weight is transferred from left to the right. Both legs are in contact with the ground, so it's a double support for both legs. But right side is in loading and left side is in pre-swing. Eventually, the foot will be flat on the ground. So clinical is called foot flat. When the left leg leaving the ground, it goes to the next phase. So this is the ending of the loading response. When the left leg leaving the ground, right side go into mid stance. That's the phase we call a heel up, a single up, so single leg standing, and then your body will keep progressing. So your body weight will progress anteriorly, and the center of mass will reach the highest point. So we call it single up. Okay, leaving the ground, weight transfer, CON, reach the highest point. That is the mid stance phase. The left leg will be in the swing phase and is moving forward. Right leg is in single stance. Right after the left leg touching the ground, the mid stance ends, and then we go into terminal stance phase. The center of mass is highest at the mid stance, and then we call it single down. So the center of mass is going down, going down. Okay. The heel will raise because the load is transferred onto the left side, so the heel will raise for the right side, but it's still in contact with the ground. It's the single. In the terminal stance, it's single stance, but once it contact, the terminal stance will end. Okay, so this picture is not in single stance. Right before this one contact, this is in single stance. Okay, so in the picture I gave you, this one will not be terminal stance, right? It will be this leg is in the air. Once the left side contacts the ground, terminal stance ends, and the right leg will be leaving the ground. So right will be toe off, then we go into the pre-swing phase. So from contact until the toe is off. Before the toe is off, we're transferring the weight from right side to left side. So it's loading for the left, but it's pre-swing for the right. And we know pre-swing means it's not swinging yet. So the right side is still contacting the ground. So this is double support. So once the toe is off, then pre-swing ends. Pre-swing is part of stand phase. Once the right foot is leaving the ground, it ends pre-swing. It goes to initial swing phase. So it's from right toe off until you got the maximum right knee flexion. And then the right foot, right leg keeps swinging forward until the right leg, lower leg, is about vertical to the ground. We call it right tibia vertical. So from the maximum knee flexion to right tibia vertical is the mid-swing. Then the leg keeps swimming forward until right leg touching the ground. Right vertical, tibia vertical to right initial contact is the period for terminal swing. So, in summary, stand phase, swing phase. Previously, I give you 60-40, 60 to 38 is fine. So let's look at when right initial contact, right here, is the beginning of the gait cycle. Right side is the brown one. It will go into loading, and then left side will go into pre-swing. Then right side go into the mid stance and terminal stance. There's a single up, so right side is in single stance. At the same time, left side is going through the initial swing, mid swing until terminal swing. Then the left side contact the ground. Left side initial contact, then left side, the yellow one, go into loading, and then right side go into pre-swing. Then left side go into the single up, so mid stance and terminal stance, and then right side go through the initial mid swing and terminal swing. That's the ending of 100% gait cycle. Then it start again. Ending of the right side stand phase is about 62. It has this is weight transfer, and the ending is also weight transfer. One is transfer from left to right, and the other is from right to left. This is about 12%, and this is about 12%. 12 and 12. Divided into half for mid stance and terminal stance. And then pretty even divided for 3 swing phases. So I have a few questions to ask you about the two legs relationship. Now we're going to talk about the double support phases in 2 parts. So remember when I talk about the review here, I say one stand phase has 1 single support and 2 double support. Now I'm going to explain the details of the 2 double support. Two double support within one stand phase. So this is the subcomponent that we just described in our previous slide. Now I'm going to focus on the loading for right side, which right side is called loading response and left side is pre-swing. Then at the end of the stand phase, that's also another weight transfer. But now the loading is loading onto the left side and right side is doing pre-swing. So to transfer from left to right, transfer from right to left. Because it's during weight transfer, so of course you need to have 2 legs touching the ground, then weight can transfer. So these 2 parts adding together, double support, is left to right and right to left, and left to right weight transfer. So the 2 parts of the arrow, 12 plus 12% equals 24. So basically, in the stand phase, it's double support, single support, and double support. And this is very intuitive. If one leg is in stance, right side in stance, single stance, single. So the other leg must be in the air. So left side will be swing. The same, if right side is swing, so only left side is in the single stance. Okay? So I hope this video can help you learn the phases. You would do the Slido, and then there are practice quiz for you to identify gait phases by looking at a picture. Then you can do the extra credit about gait phases that will close at November 28th. Then we go into the lecture 1 and lecture 2 for gait.